Hey everybody, Dave here. Today I'm going to automate RPAchallenge.com in a tool called Robomotion. This is a robotic process automation tool that I only heard about just a few days ago. And normally I don't just go try out tools. I like to stick to a few, but I just felt motivated to. I'm not sure why. So I had joined the Discord server that Anders Jensen has for I Love Automation. And I joined the Discord server and a person in the Discord server named Alex Maxey had brought up Robomotion, and I'd never heard of this before. They suggested it's a good tool. They have a lot of fun in it. And I went to robomotion.io just to check it out. And within like 1 minute, I had a free workspace set up and I was playing around in the tool. The first thing I noticed is that it has dark mode. And immediately I was like, I'm giving this tool a couple of hours at least. And 4 hours later, I found that I was really enjoying myself and I'd already kind of proofed out how you would automate rpachallenge.com. Now, granted, that's not all that difficult, but still, this is a tool I never used before. And I think that's kind of a big deal when I just, with maybe 4 hours of playing around with a tool, reading documentation, I was able to automate that web page. And I think that's pretty good. So that's what we're going to do today. Before we get into that, I want to give a couple of disclaimers. The first disclaimer is that I am not sponsored by Robomotion. And the second disclaimer is that I don't want to misrepresent the tool. So I might say things incorrectly. I tried to ask a few questions. Alex Maxey helped me out with that. So thanks a lot for answering some of my questions, just to make sure that I wasn't misunderstanding things. And so I might still do things incorrectly in certain ways, or there might be better ways to do things. And I just want to point out, give the tool a little bit of leeway because I might just not know what I'm doing. Okay. So let's go ahead and start on this. Let's automate rpachallenge.com in Robomotion. Before we get to building this thing from scratch, I do want to show you what I've already made and just run a really quick demo to show you what we're going for. This is the flow designer in Robomotion. This is my free workspace, and I'm going to go over and open one that I made a few days ago. So it doesn't look super neat how I have it, but you can organize it, better than this. You can use subflows and stuff. But anyways, this is effectively all we're going to be building. This is all the stages, all the nodes, actions that we might need to automate rpachallenge.com. And then each of these nodes have some details inside of them. But I'm going to go ahead and click run on this. So what you have to do is install the Robomotion extension and then also a local installer. And you'll have like a little view into the logs right here. So I'm going to move that off screen though. But you can see we're connecting to Jarvis and I'm going to click run. And then this is going to open up Chrome in light mode, unfortunately, because I guess how it's opening Chrome, I can't make it override it with dark mode. So this is going to blind us for just a minute. Okay, so it's filling out RPA challenge. I'll move this over. You can see it's doing round 5, 6, 7, whatever. And it's taking a bunch of data from Excel and entering it in the web page. Did it in 8 seconds. So that's pretty much how long it takes every time. I do want to mention that I'm not being completely fair to the tool as far as how fast it can run. It definitely can run faster than this. I just don't have access to run this thing from the admin console, so instead I'm doing the sort of debug or designer view run. Probably if we ran this thing correctly, like I did with Power Automate Desktop and Blue Prism and other tools, I ran them from their sort of control room or orchestrator or whatever you want to call it for each tool, and all of them ran faster that way. So this one would likely, given that it was only 8 seconds in its debug mode, I'm betting it would be below 3 seconds, if not 2 or 1 second. Hey there, post-production Dave here. I was kind of right in that this flow can run faster if we can run it like it's production mode. And so Faik from Robomotion has helped me out with that since then. So this is several days after I recorded this original video. And just to be clear, I put myself in a different place on the screen to indicate which one's past me and which one's future me. This is future me with the blue and gray shirt. So one of the things that I've learned is that you can run this faster simply by connecting to the robot differently, by using a different argument in the command. So that will turn off a lot of the logging that normally happens when you're in debug or design view like this. So let's run that. And near the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to do that. That part's pretty simple. And then we're going to get to a third demo here in a second, which is also something new that I've learned. Let me go ahead and connect. So Okay, so I have connected to the robot with that special command, like I mentioned, that helps turn off the logging. And I am going to run this again. Going to hit run. It's going to take the same amount of time to download the website as it did before. But then when it actually starts looping through the rows and filling out the fields, you should see it happen close to twice as fast as before. Now, it's not quite as fast as it can be because I'm screen recording right now, and that does seem to cause a little bit of lag. So when I ran this before, normally I was getting 4.4 seconds when I used this method of connection to the robot. And now I'm getting 5 seconds, which is still a good, more than 3 seconds faster than we were getting before. Again, at the end of the video, or near the end, I'm going to explain how this is done. This is pretty simple. But now let's go to the third demo that I want to show you. Faik from Robomotion helped me out with this. This is really the way that you'd get the fastest performance you can ever do. You may have seen this before. It's effectively using just JavaScript in this flow to perform some of the things that these stages were performed. So these stages are going to go away. These set value stages, they go away and then get replaced with a run script node. I'll show this run script and what's inside of it near the end of the video as well. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and run it. But I wanted to point out that there is more to this, and I didn't write the JavaScript code for this. I can understand it, but I didn't write it. So here we go. Let's run this. Now, it's important that you're watching closely because if you blink, you might miss this. So here we go. Run. And when it pops up, I'm going to move this over. As soon as it finishes downloading, it's going to go lightning fast. Watch this. $364 milliseconds. I can't even count it in seconds at this point. 0.3 seconds to fill it out. And what I love about this, I've seen other people solve this super fast, right? Like very, very fast, but it doesn't show anything on screen. Everything's in memory or in JavaScript or whatever. You don't get to see anything. What I love so much about this is it's running extremely fast, but it's still showing it happen on screen. That's nuts and super exciting. Again, I'm going to show you near the end of the video how to actually do this. So let's go ahead and jump back into the video that I originally recorded. You'll see my shirt change back to what it was before. I'm going to go back to the original place. We're going to go through most of that video. And then near the end, after we've finished sort of building our flow and then testing it and figuring out the silly problem I had at the end, then you'll see me, blue and gray shirt, post-production Dave, come back. I'm going to show you how I did demo number 2 and demo number 3, both of which were just Faik from Robomotion showing me how to do that. And I appreciate that a lot. So enjoy the video, and blue, gray shirt, post-production Dave, we'll see you after a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this. We are going to leave this and we're going to create a new project. I'm going to call this RPA Challenge. Just call this RPA Challenge. Click OK. This is a blank canvas. We are going to drag some actions or nodes or commands, functions. There's a lot of words we can use for it. I know that in this tool, they like to use the word node as far as the points in the workflow. Let's drag some nodes over. The first thing is not super intuitive. You wouldn't know this without looking it up, but the way that we're running it right now, the way to start it is with an inject action. And so I'm going to drag that over. I do want to rename it. So I want to call this start. It just looks better to me. All right. And then we're going to do some Excel stuff. So let me bring up the Excel file. I downloaded this from the RPA Challenge website. So if you were to go to rpachallenge.com, click this download link, it'll bring you to, or it'll give you an Excel file that looks like this. I did a little bit of manipulation, fixing some problems with it. I could have automated that, but I chose not to. But note that first name, last name, those field names refer to the field names on this page. And what we'll do is read all the rows from it, and then we'll loop over all the rows, entering the data into this web page. Then we'll click submit each time. You'll see the fields change location, and then the goal is to use selectors for our elements in the web page to make sure that it can still find the right input field regardless of where it is on the page. So let's move that to the background and grab some Excel actions. So open Excel. I know I want close Excel. So we'll configure those first. Okay, Excel file path. I'm going to use /test/challenge.xls. .lsx. And I don't think I want to change anything else. Note that there's an Excel instance identifier right here, and that will automatically get filled into the other ones that I use. So it's kind of like pre-populated, and so I just won't be touching that. Close Excel. I don't think I have to do anything here. You see there's that Excel instance identifier. And then let's do, I think it's get, okay, get range. See, it's in the Excel group. And then I'm going to link these together. A little hard to get that one. There we go. Okay. My OCD gets me a little bit here, so you may see me just organizing the nodes a little bit just so that they're straight. I really need this tool to let me just auto-arrange or something because I can't handle it being slightly crooked. There's a little bit of a concept I want to explain here. So let me bring up the Excel file. We are going to read this data out, and we're going to put it into an object. Remember this data set and what it looks like. When I go into get range, I'm going to ignore everything except for this area down here. I want to have all range selected, and then I'm going to check both of these boxes. The first one I can explain is pretty easy. We want to tell this tool that when you read the data, the first row is the header row, and use that as the field names when you create the JSON object. We're going to check to JSONify it, and then the output is going to go into the message object. This is the concept that I want to explain. Think of variables where you might normally do something like this, which you can do in this tool too. You can go manually create variables. So you can hit this, you can create whatever variables you need, but I don't actually have to do that at all for this whole workflow. I don't think I'm going to need any variables. So I'm going to remove that. Instead, I'm going to use the built-in variable, which is like, I guess we're just going to call it the message object. I don't know if the message object just exists all the time. I guess it does. All of the actions, all the nodes all have the message object available. So we're going to say that it starts over here. The open Excel action, it adds to that message object. You see MSG dot. It's going to add a field called Excel_FD. And then both of these other Excel actions have pre-filled this, this Excel_FD field. And then get range is going to add to the message object, create another field called table right here. So we can reference these different fields throughout this. You'll see any place you see MSG dot, you can just add the field name after it, and then you can reference that. So that's what we're going to be doing here whenever we are trying to get data out of this table. With that, let's go ahead and jump straight to the for each. We're going to have to insert something between this, but we'll do it later. So we need a for each loop to loop over that data set, right? So each of these rows. And what the goal is to when we hit this for each loop, we are targeting a specific row. So in the for each settings, you don't think I have to change most of this. Yeah, we're going to change both of these options down here. So in this for each, we want to loop over something. So in this case, we need to pick an object from inside, or we're going to pick an object inside of the message object. We could probably use a global variable or flow variable, but we're not going to do that. We already know that the name of the object is table. So you might be tempted, and I've made this mistake a couple of times, you might be tempted to put table here because we're looping over table. But just like in a lot of programming languages, I think this is kind of common, you have to reference what it is about the table that you're looping over because the table itself has different properties and different fields and stuff. So what we want to do is loop over table.rows. And this will give us one row each time we loop. Now it's saying current item, what do you want to call that? We can call this anything we want, I believe, but I call it row. So I think you can change this to whatever you want. Now that we have our for each kind of ready, what we need to do is start building out the browser related actions. We need to open the browser, and I think we need to navigate to rpachallenge.com, and then we also need to click the start button. So we're going to do all of that before we start looping through anything. Let's go to the browser group. We need open browser. Let's configure that. We're opening Chrome. I'm going to uncheck maximized just so that, it only shows up over here. And note that you can do headless Chrome, and that does work for this automation. But I'm going to leave it as just Chrome so that we can see it running. Don't think I'm going to change anything else. And then we want to open link. We're going to go down and find URL, custom URL. We want http://rpachallenge.com. And that's it. Then I want to click. We're going to click on the start button. So this start button right here. So I'm going to change click element to click start. And then I think we only need to change one thing in here, and it's got pre-selected the selector type as XPath. We could use CSS selectors as well. I think you could do that for all of the items on this page, but recently I've liked XPath expressions better than CSS selectors because you can always reference the inner HTML. Anyway, so XPath, and then I could just type something here. I think I could remember an XPath expression that would work, but let's go build one manually right now. All right, so here is rpachallenge.com. We are going to need XPath expressions for the start button, submit button, and at least one input field, and then we'll use that as a template for all the rest of them. Let's hit F12 to go to the developer tools, and then if it doesn't show up already, then you can do Control F to get this little find by string selector XPath inputs. And then I'm going to right click on the start button, do inspect, and we are going to use this inner HTML text right here, start. So we want, okay, but it's gonna, when I start typing things, it might go all over the place. So we want button and start. I think that's all we care about, actually. / to find it anywhere, and then it's gonna be a button. What? Here, it's already selecting it, but let's pretend like there's more than one button on the page, and we need to be a little more specific. So open square brackets, and then text, open close parenthesis, equals start. And I have single quotes on each side of start, and then close square bracket. And so that finds the button for us. And if we really needed to, we could make it more complex, but we'll leave it like that for now. Let's go back over to here, go into this click start, and go down to the custom selector for XPath, paste it, and then that should work. Now we are going to need to click again, so let's bring click element over for the submit button. Let's rename this. And let's see, we want another XPath expression, so let's go back up. And let's right click on the submit button. Okay, I have made this web page really tiny for just a second so that I can right click on the submit button and you can see the inspect option right here. I just want to make sure, I think it was off the screen before. So I'm going to click inspect. I'm going to open this back up and it should have the correct one selected right here. So this is not a button. It's not an element type of button. It's an input. And then we can use the type of submit or the value of submit. So let's try that. / input, and then open square bracket. We want an @ symbol whenever we reference any like an attribute in an XPath expression. And it was, what was it? Type equals submit. Okay, so that looks like it'll work. So we'll just try that, assuming that there's no other, I mean, this appears to indicate there's no other elements on the page where the type is submit. So we'll leave that. We could also add on like value equals submit, or, oh, class is button. Anyway, we could add to it later, but this is probably fine. We're going to paste it in here for the XPath, and that's our click. Now we need to do some, we need to write into the fields. So there's two ways to do this. I found that type text works and set value also works. They seem to be the same as far as performance, how quickly they run, but I imagine some websites it won't work to use set value and you'll have to use type text, but we're going to use set value here. If you go into work with this, I just learned this like an hour or two ago, you hold shift and then you left click and drag to be able to move this around like that. And you can also, scroll on your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Okay, so let's do I think what we're going to do is put in a selector and then the value, and then we'll copy this and use it over and over, and just change some of the data in here. I think that you could probably do this in a dynamic way, but I'm not really that familiar with this tool, so we're going to keep it simple. Okay, so let's go back to here, and we're going to right click on, let's do first name, inspect. Okay, so what I see is, it's an element type of input. It's got an ng reflect name of label first name. So for just a second, I'm going to type an XPath expression that would work. I just think it's cheating to do so. Not if you were doing this for real, right? For like production purposes, you could do this, it'd be just fine. But I don't like it because I feel like this website should have made this more difficult. This doesn't even make me try to connect this to its label. So this would work just fine, because you're using the attribute ng reflect name of label first name, and honestly, that's fine. But we're going to make it harder on ourselves, and we're going to pretend like there is nothing inside of this element, this input, that tells us what it has to do with. And instead, we're going to go with the concept that this div contains a label and an input. So we are first going to find the label by first name, by the text first name, and then we're going to navigate upward to its parents and then go downward to an input. That way, the label and the input are always together. So what we're going to do first is find the label, // look for it anywhere, label, the element type, open square bracket, and we want text, open close parenthesis, equals last name in single quotes. I think double quote works too. Close square bracket. So that works, right? I did last name. I meant to do first name. First name. Okay. And then what I need to do is go up to its parent. So I'm going to do one single // going to type parents, 2 colons, and then I don't actually care that it's a div. I could type that, but I think I'm going to do a star. That way it doesn't matter if the website changes and like this div becomes, I don't know what other kind of container elements there could be, but it could be a different element type and this would still work. And then I'm going to do a single slash and then the word input, because what I'm looking for is an input beneath this. Now, I could do double slashes here so that it doesn't matter where underneath this it is, but a single slash is going to work here just fine. I'm going to copy this and go over here. So probably the right way to do this is with a variable, but I think it'll be harder to read that way. So we're going to hard code all of these XPaths into each of these places. Let's paste this here. Let's drag this out, make it a little bit wider so we can read it. Okay, label, text, first name, and it's got parent, input, whatever. We don't care about that stuff. What we do care about is just this part, which we're going to change to different things in just a second. The other part of it, besides the selector, is the value. Now, let's go back and review the field names in challenge.xlsx are first name, last name, etc. You see some of these have what are these called? Spaces in them. The first 4 of them and phone number also has a space in it. So we'll just try to remember that. Everything's going to go to lowercase and spaces will turn into underscores. So what we want to do is go back up and look really quick at get range. This goes into table. That's right, for each, splits up table.rows into row. So we are going to reference row.fieldName. Set value. I want to change this. So the value, by default, it's a custom value. So like a hard-coded value. I'm going to change this to the message object. And then remember as we loop through this, it's going to get a field name called row. And then we're going to type the field name first underscore name, because that's what it is going to end up being called when it takes it from Excel. Now, I should be able to just copy this, paste, go into this, and change it to be last name. Change this field name for the data to be last name. Can paste again. You can see like this tool is really performant in the browser. Like I don't really, the only thing I see that's sometimes slow is if I select a bunch of things. You see there's a little bit of a delay in selecting them, but I don't think that's actually it being slow. I think it's intended to be like that because you can see when I select something, I can immediately drag it around. But the highlighting seems to be a bit slow, as if it's like waiting to make sure that's what you really wanted to do. But man, this tool works really well in the browser. I normally hate using anything in the browser besides just looking up on stuff on the internet. I hate apps being web-based, but this one proves to me that it's possible it can work well. Okay, anyway, that's a little off topic. I am going to forget the names of these fields, so I'm going to have this up off screen with these field names in it. So we want company name. So company name. Company name. And then we want role and company. Now some of these are actually may not be role in company. So let me go back over. Oh, it will be. So that's the thing. Since we are basing this on the text in if you can see ng reflect name. So let me go to ng reflect name for like role and company. You see how it says like label role? But the text is role and company. So I can ignore this label role. I think it's label phone and stuff. I can just look at this text right here and know what I need to type. So I'm going to put that off screen as a reference as well. So did I do this right? Let's see. This one's first name. That's what the text says. Last name. Company name. Okay. So this should be right. And then we want role in company. It's the text for the label. And then this one is going to be role underscore in underscore company. Keep pasting to get all of these fields. Address. Wait a second. Have I done something wrong? First name, last name, company name, role in company. This is what I'm looking at. We got these. We need to do address, email, and phone number. Text was address. Looks like I deleted the end of this, so I've got to go copy it again. This seems like it would benefit from having like some kind of pop-out editor. I mean, it's fine, but it is a little bit hard to read. And I accidentally deleted part of it, so let's go address and the row address. Phone underscore number. And then we want to click submit. So let's connect this. And then we'll want these fields to go one after another. And this top node from the for each is where we're going to connect to the thing that we want to start, this sort of in our loop. So this is all in our loop. And then we need to make this come back around. So we could actually just do this, right? It would technically in debug mode, because debug mode runs slower the more stages you have in a loop. But I'm going to delete this because that looks really silly. And I think the right way is to do a label. So let's grab a label and a go-to. So the go to, we're just going to select down here in the options to go to the label. I don't really care that it's not, named or anything because this is the only label I'm going to use in this flow. We're going to put the label up here, and the label is going to connect directly into the front of for each. Let's open up our workspace a little bit here. I love that you can do that. Oh my goodness. And we're going to connect anything that we've left off. Now, note that what I'm doing here is after I click start, that's when we want to start the for each. We don't want to connect to the top of the label, which you can't really mess that up because you can't connect into a label. A go to has to point to a label. So click start goes to for each, and then the for each goes into all of these. Then click submit, and then go to will jump back up to here, and we'll keep going through here. Eventually, when this for each has done all of the rows, the flow will eventually come out of here. So let's see, what did we do in the other one? I think we did like some kind of, it was like a dialogue or a message box or something. Message box. Oh, that's right. I think I want it to retrieve the value at the end and display it in the message box. That's what I did before. So let's do that again. So we actually have to start and click submit until we get to the end. So we want to select this right here. So I'm going to right click on this, go to inspect, Control F to bring this up. And then I want this. So, congratulations. So what we could try to do is grab, maybe we'll just cheat because this isn't really part of the automation. I just want to add this. So we're going to cheat and do a kind of bad XPath expression. // we're just going to do like div that has a class that equals message to. That is not a good XPath expression. You shouldn't use something like that in production anytime it's like a message 1, message 2. Because if the website ever gives you 3 messages, like how do you know you're getting the right one? So ideally I would, you know what? Okay, fine. Fine, you talked me into it. We will make a better one. So let's use the text inside of that and do like, I think we can do contains. So contains success rate. There we go. So we've targeted a specific message based upon the text that's in it. That's what I think is a pretty good XPath expression to use in this case. And we will copy that and put it inside of, we don't have I think it's get value, browser, get value. So we're going to do the same thing as before, where we'll use a selector, XPath. Here's our selector and the attribute. The attribute. Because it's in the inner HTML, it's not an attribute. We'll try like value or something. I got this to work before. I just can't remember what I did. But anyways, we'll try like value. I don't think it's value though. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Let's save this. And I guess I haven't connected this in. So we want to connect the end of the for each, right? After it's all completely done, then we'll get the value and then we'll display that value, which goes into, again, here's that message object. It goes into, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to look up what I did before. Message.value is how we can reference what comes, what is read when it gets the text off the page. And then the message box, custom title, we'll do success. And for this text, we will do message dot, we don't need a dot. It's message dot value. Okay, let's just test this. I don't think this last part's going to work right. Run. Okay, so it didn't work, right? It did go past it. It just didn't. There's no attribute called value inside of this element, right? So it only has attributes called ng content c1 and class. So we could technically have read one of those, but that's not what we want. Get value. Let's look at this again, and we're going to see if we can try to either remember what I did or figure it out. I think at this point I would probably test something like this, and I guess I'm gonna have to run the whole test again. Surely that's not an attribute though. There's no way. Oh wait, I never did close that. No. Okay. Well, we built everything else right, it looks like, because we're getting 100% success rate. Okay. It definitely did not work again. And now is when we go to find out what I did before so that I don't waste the time to figure it out again. So I don't have that one open. So let's open this same thing in another tab. And then we're going to go to the other flow that I have. Okay. Message bot. No. Get value. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? You just don't put an attribute at all. Oh man. So let's just delete that attribute. And now I guess we save it and we run it again. Because I was thinking too hard. I don't know if you can see in the background there that it's lighting up the stages that have already gone as green. The one that's currently running is yellow. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, let's see if our pop-up says it. Yes! Our pop-up says your success rate is 100%, 70 out of 70 fields in 8 seconds. So again, pretty confident this would drop dramatically in how long it takes if we did like a real run of this, whatever that's called, admin console run or something like that. I don't know what they call it in this tool, but I think it would run much faster. Hey everybody, blue and gray shirt post-production Dave here again. I showed you the demo 2 and 3 before earlier in the video. Now I want to show you how to do those two things. The first one was demo 2, where I just improved the speed of the flow simply by effectively connecting to the robot in a different way. So this is the normal way to connect, right? You'd open up this local installer. I don't know if you want to call it a robot or whatever, but you'd put in your workspace username and password, sign in, and then once it's signed in, you need to choose a robot. So here's my list of robots. I only have one, and I'm going to click connect. It'll take a second and you'll see like 2 lines pop up here indicating that connection is good. So now I could go run stuff from here, right? I could just click run like this. And now this is Jarvis. When I'm connected to right now, I could click run, but I'm going to disconnect from here. And then I'm going to open up the command line. This is what you do different. This is just if you're trying to see what it would be like as a real production run, trying to get it to run as fast as possible. So I'm going to go get a command from here. For you, it would be different because you'd put your email address and you'd put your workspace. But other than that, the command is the same. The important part is this -n, which is the part that basically tells the connection to not log a bunch of things and not cause it to be slower. So I'm going to paste that into command prompt, and I'm just going to run it. It's going to ask for my password, so I'm going to type that in. Hit enter, and then it's going to log in, and then it's going to ask me to choose a robot. Again, I only have one, so I'm just going to hit enter. And then it connects the robot, and now I'm ready to start running stuff. So now I can go up here, and the same flow that I ran before, I can just hit run on like this. It's still Jarvis to select here, and I hit run. and then it pops up like this. And just like we saw when I demoed it earlier on in the video, it's going to be faster than what you just saw, right? So I guess it's going to come out to around 5 seconds, but that's just because of my screen recording right now. It's 4.4 seconds almost exactly every single time I run this whenever I'm not recording my screen with OBS. So there's that. That's how you test that out. Now, if you wanted to go back to having the logging on, how I've been doing this is this is the window. Anyway, so I would close this window. So that should, I guess, terminate the connection. And then I'd reopen this, right click, go to connect, and then it'll connect back. And now I can run up here and I'll get my logging information and stuff in this window. Because you can see in the events right here, right, it only says flow started, flow started. That's all you get whenever you use that logging level that I just showed you when you want the extra speed. All right, so now demo number 3 that we did earlier, I want to show you how to handle that. This is something that I don't think I'd recommend that you do except for just having fun. So this script was provided me almost exactly like this from Robomotion from Faik. And I don't think I could have come up with this on my own. I don't know enough about JavaScript to do this, but I'm going to explain the concepts that I think I read in this code. So just for some context, what we're talking about is at the point where we have already opened Excel and got data, we opened the browser, went to RPA challenge, we've already clicked start, and now we are looping through each of the rows from the Excel data. And to enter the data in each of the fields is the part that we are running a script for. So we run the script to enter the data for all 7 fields, and then we use a separate node to click the submit button. And then we go back up, we go to, and then go to the label, goes to for each, goes to run script, and it does the next row. So this is only going to handle 1 row at a time. Just want to make that clear. I'm going to open this up in edit mode. Basically what's happening is there's a function right here, and the function's name is element. It takes an input parameter, input argument called path. You pass in some string that looks something like this, right? Which is a valid XPath expression for the website. And then it is going to look in the document to try to find and retrieve an element that matches that selector. So this one, for example, would be the first name input. It's going to try to retrieve that and then do something, in order to do something with it. And that element is going to sort of exist right here. And then what we're doing is setting its value to the value of the first name field in the row that we're on currently. So message object dot row dot first name. And then you just copy that for the other 6 rows. And it looks just like this. I hope that made sense. It's no big deal if it didn't. Gonna hit close. You'll see that run script, like I said, is in place of all of the set value nodes. Now, let's test this out. And I am connected as a normal, with a normal connection. Gonna hit run. And let's see how it does like this. Okay, so it's going to download the website. Takes a little bit of time. Okay, wow, that's actually super. I didn't test this before. That's important to know. It takes 3.4 seconds when you have the normal logging on, but that's because it still has to take the time to loop through each of the, do the for each. So if we put the script, if we did the for each inside the script and the click submit inside the script, which we could do all that, it would probably be super fast. But because it's slowing down in order to log everything, so you can see all this stuff, right? It's logging every single thing. And if it had any errors, it would be logging that as well. So that's really cool that we tested that actually. Now let's go disconnect from the robot. And then let's go back and do our demo, number 2, that sort of connection. Okay, it's connected. Now let's go over here and we're just going to run it again. And we should see it run super fast now because we've turned the logging level down. What? I didn't even have time to move the website over to the right. Let's do it again because I want to be able to have time to do that. Okay, I'm going to get the window this time. Ha, got it. Okay, so we got, 300, 400 milliseconds. I just love seeing it fly like that. It's hilarious. All right, so I hope that has been helpful. I wanted to share that information. I thought about making a follow-up video to this, but instead I decided to just insert it into the middle. And you might say, since this is about JavaScript, that I just injected JavaScript into the video. All right, so let's go back and finish up the video with a conclusion from past me. So that is rpachallenge.com in Robomotion. I gotta say, I really like the tool. There are a few things that are not super intuitive, but it's, for the most part, it's because it's just a unique concept that I haven't dealt with before. It was pleasant that, this looks unique to me compared to a lot of RPA tools, but at the same time, they kind of maintain the contract of like, I can expect my actions to be on the left side and I can search for them. And then properties panel is going to be on the right. I just love that you can remove those anytime you want to have bigger area to work in. And, creating variables is in the same way that I might expect. It's more like UiPath, that style. This dark mode setting, right? I can turn on dark mode even if I don't have an extension for it. Oh, that's just wonderful. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.